Within ChatGPT, you have access to a variety of different settings that you can use to customize and tailor your experience using the AI tool. Where do we find it? So I'm back on my ChatGPT homepage. To access your settings, navigate to the top right-hand side of your screen. Go ahead and give your icon. If you have an image, it'll be shown here. It might also just show as your first initial there. You give that a click, and you have the options for settings. And let's take a look at some of the settings that we have access to. We won't dive too deep into all of them, but I do want to present these. So in the general settings, you have the ability to change your theme, the classic dark mode versus light mode. You have the ability to show code when using a data analyst. That's more of an advanced feature, so we won't talk too much about this. But I do like to have this feature enabled. Show follow-up suggestions in chat. What does that mean? So let's say I go ahead and put in a prompt. I get my response from ChatGPT. At the end of that response, it'll actually offer some suggestions on some follow-up prompts that you can use. I find this to be particularly useful when it comes to using ChatGPT for research and learning, because essentially what the AI is trying to do, again, following the standard of AI machine learning, is essentially trying to make predictions on what else I might want to learn. So say, for example, I ask ChatGPT about our solar system, a general question about our solar system. I'm going to ask it about the order of the planets. Well, ChatGPT will respond and tell me the order of the planets based on its distance from the sun, and then it'll actually offer up follow-up suggestions. So it'll say, it'll give me a prompt to say, do you want to know more about Saturn? Do you want to know more about Mars? And so on and so forth. I like to have that feature enabled because it may think of some things that I didn't know I want to know, and it might pique my curiosity. I can click on it and then follow up. And we'll talk about prompt iteration when we focus in on the prompt writing section of our course. Language settings. You can manage all of your archive chats. So if there are some chats that you want to maintain archive for historical purposes, but you don't want it to populate your history screen, which again appears on the sidebar here on the left, you can actually archive it, meaning that it'll still be saved. ChatGPT still learns from that data, but it will help reduce some of the clutter that can happen when you use ChatGPT frequently and you have hundreds and hundreds of chats built up. You can also delete all of your chats as well if you want to start with a blank slate. You have some personalization options. We'll talk about custom instructions later on, but the memory here, again, very similar to that temporary chat. You can turn off ChatGPT's ability to pick up on details and preferences. So there's a little bit of a difference between memory and temporary chat. Temporary chat just means, hey, for this particular instruction, don't save it in the history and don't learn from it. Memory is your ChatGPT AI's ability to pick up on different cues. For example, I speak and I write in a very specific way based on how I navigate this world. The same to you. We all have our unique ways that we speak, unique intonations, expressions, whether or not we move our hands, and so on. ChatGPT using memory actually picks up on a lot of those cues from our natural language. And it uses that in order to tailor responses to us. So the way that it responds to me might be very different than how it responds to you. You might prefer a version of ChatGPT that's much more professional and streamlined and sort of right to the point. It'll pick up on that through your prompts and through your chats, and then it'll start responding in that way. If I'm someone that's a bit more casual, want to have a bit more of a personal relationship, personable approach, it'll pick that up. So that's up to you. Do you want ChatGPT to tailor its responses in that way? Then keep in memory enabled. If you don't, you can actually disable it there. And that's what we see when we say manage memories here. You can actually take a look at some of those cues that it picked up. You can actually instruct ChatGPT to focus on specific details and preferences using custom instructions and so on. Down below, we have some speech options. We'll talk more about this when we get into the voice control portion of ChatGPT. And then you have some more advanced features like data controls, builder profile, connected apps, and security. I would say when you first sign on, if you're a first-time user, and even if you have been using ChatGPT but haven't necessarily explored the settings, take a look at follow-up suggestions, take a look at your archive chats. If you're new and maybe you haven't written the best prompts, you could delete all chats and start at a blank slate. I think that's particularly helpful sometimes. I know for me, I didn't necessarily write great prompts, and I kind of used ChatGPT willy-nilly to just search up some random articles, and then I kind of wanted to just delete it, start blank, and restart the learning of the system. So I went ahead and deleted my chats there. And then definitely take a look at these custom instructions and memories. This will make much more sense when we dive into that video on custom instructions there. So it's a brief overview on the settings. Take some time to learn these different settings and understand it so you can make sure you're getting the maximum output from ChatGPT once you begin typing in your prompts.